to another episode on Srilingo. We've discussed the concept of single mom in the past as well, and a lot of you had so much of appreciation to give for that particular episode. There are so many facets to being a single mom. Today I have a guest who's a dear friend and an ex-colleague as well. She's raised her son single-handedly. He's 15 years old today, and she has a very, very meaningful and deep experience to share with us with her journey over the past 15 years. She's moved to various places with her son, stayed in small towns and big cities in India. And everywhere she went, there was a new story that unfolded for her. So, Sharon, welcome to Srilingo. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I'm very, very grateful to you. And before I start the episode, let me just inform all my viewers that Sharon is a working mom. She is a marketing strategist, an author, and also a corporate and personal development facilitator. Welcome to Srilingo, Sharon. Thank you so much for giving
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure. I totally appreciate, Smita. Thank
me.
you.
Thank you. Sharon, you have a 15-year-old boy now in the house, a teenager. But when you and I first met many, many years ago, your baby was what, 7 months old?
6, 7 months old.
6, 7 months old. It's been
Yes,
a long, long time. I want to start
15.
by asking you, Sharon, from that little baby in your arms to this 15-year-old boy now, you've traveled across many small towns and cities, big cities in India. How was your experience in each of these places as a single mother?
So, the experience of moving across cities and towns in India as a single mom can be a little daunting. It's a roller coaster ride, to be honest, because each place brings its unique sets of values. And along with the values, there are also challenges. And along with challenges, there are opportunities. So, definitely, it's not a single line, it's up and down. Some cities definitely did get very, very territorial for me, and it does happen so. And they may not readily accept you. Even in your own country, you may feel like you're an outsider, depending upon which city you're moving, depending upon what's their cultural history and how they are raised in general. It's all about percentages. If you, we'll talk about that a little later. But the initial integration, the initial transition for me definitely was challenging. And
Can you give
I
me
say
a little
that
example, Sharon? How was it challenging? Why are you using the word territorial? Give me a little example.
right now I'm in Goa, right? So if you look at it from a different perspective, it's a tourist place. So it will not facilitate with jobs unless you are from hospitality or some sort of minimum wages job, because obviously if you're coming from a tier one city, the salary bracket changes. I did not do a thorough research. I thought, okay, I'm going to move to Goa and, I will get into mental health, write my book. There are reasons why people move from tier one cities to tier three cities or even further down villages. One is to get a very slow living.
Hmm.
So you need to be really self-sufficient and you need to have your goals in place and your perspective in place, because you can hit with challenges like no jobs, no employments.
Hmm.
I initially I did go for job interviews and I was rejected because I was overqualified.
Hmm.
One of those reasons.
Hmm.
Second is a poor pay masters, and the third reason is that I do not know the language,
Hmm.
Konkani,
Hmm.
and that. So, couple of those reasons, and as a single parent, coming back to being a single parent, the complexity can multiply because you have bills to pay, you have your emotional needs to take care of, and you're not just moving alone, you're also taking your child with you who's a teenage.
Hmm.
So the emotional and mental well-being can be, hitting the wall initially if you're not 100% prepared
Hmm.
or culturally informed, or you've done your SWOT.
Hmm.
So that can be challenging. And obviously, my child is my top priority, but he also had to make significant sacrifices because he comes from an IG board school. in Bandra, Mumbai, and from there he came to a government school in Goa. I mean, there are CBSE and ICSE, but I didn't like the way things went there. I mean, there's no offense. I wanted him to work with, like, I've studied in a convent school, so that kind of background. And he had to learn Konkani as a language and making friends. So there's a lot of sacrifices. He has to make new friends, adjust to the new city, the food, a lot of adjustments. So hence the transitioning part initially got a little daunting for both of us. Yeah, but you have to foster high amount of adaptability. I think where we come from, we have a very thick skin. So that is there. And you're just not embracing moving to new cities, you're embracing a complete new lifestyle.
Hmm.
And here, see, the rentals that you pay here, depending upon which part of the city you live in, is as high as what you would pay for a place in Mumbai or Delhi. It is extremely expensive. I live in Panjim city, very close to the beach. It is extremely expensive, unless you're living in those little areas, which is at the coastal side and the village area. That's a
Hmm.
different story. So it's really, really expensive, as good as what you will pay in Mumbai or Delhi. And apart from that, we do not have public transport. So that is another challenging issue here. There is no public transport. Even the buses are
Hmm.
private buses. So you have limited access to where you wish to travel. So once you move here, you need to have a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler for sure.
Hmm.
So all of that has to be kept into perspective. It's a whole lot of lifestyle change. I mean, Goa looks so pretty and it has its own perks. The beaches are beautiful, and nature. Like my whole idea of moving cities, because I was writing my book, which I published recently, and it was all about mental and emotional well-being. So I wanted to be in a space where I felt more grounded and connected to Mother Earth, and hence I made a move to Goa because it looked familiar as a tourist, but once you start living, it's different.
I can
It's
imagine.
absolutely different. Yeah.
I
So
can
yeah,
imagine.
those
Okay,
that
so
was
let's say these were adaptability issues that you and
hmm,
your son faced moving from Bombay
yeah,
to Goa. But
yeah.
as a single mother, as a woman, um, you are always prone to judgment. Now,
Yes.
working women are always judged for not being hands-on mom, and
Yeah.
you know not being there for every special occasion in the child's life. You are not only a working mom, you're also a single mom. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying, so you tell me, were there judgments detrimental to your growth in Bombay, and are those same judgments in Goa? Because Bombay and Goa are very separate demographies. So I'm trying to understand, mindset
Hmm.
remains the same even if demographies change?
Not really. I'll tell you, I have moved from Mumbai to Delhi, Pune, and Goa. And
Hmm.
I've also lived in Dubai for 4 years, right? So
Okay.
all these places have very different mindset. Dubai, obviously, it's a multinational culture. Everybody's working visa, everybody's just running. So there is nothing like a single mom who's suffering. No, you're looked at it very differently.
Hmm.
Um, the percentage of people who are working mothers, leave alone single mothers, in
Hmm.
Goa could be maybe 20% or so, not that much. I
Hmm.
don't think so.
Hmm.
And what kind of jobs? Mostly they would be teachers or, helping their husbands in their businesses, something to do with hospitality. Like if you actually do a SWOT, that kind of job opportunities. And yes, there has been a lot of judgment, especially in the initial stages. I kind of took it as a shock, and it was very like, why are they looking, why are they judging me? And it's not judging you for the clothes that you're wearing or the way you are. So here, what happens is, Smita, traditionally, the traditional role of a mother who's at home, a stay-home mother, even if you have a full-time help, okay? they are dictated mothers who will pick their children, drop their children, do the groceries too. So there's like a to-do list which is culturally
A mother's job.
important. That is a mother's job. That is a
Okay.
woman's job,
Hmm.
and that's the norm. That's how it is, and it's been on
Now
a high
you are
percentage.
breaking all of that.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's on a higher percentage. I'm telling you, vis-a-vis in cities like Pune, Mumbai, Delhi, that I have lived, you may get judged, but not that, oh, why you did not go to drop your son or why you didn't go for this event, because the percentage of working mothers, leave alone single mothers, working mothers is higher,
Hmm.
is extremely high. So all the mothers, and you've seen, we take the train at 6 a.m., fight it out. The ladies' compartment is worst. Metro, and in the train only you are doing all your, what do you go home and do next if you don't have a full-time help? Because it's not sometimes that you can't afford a full-time help. In those cities, even the help has a help at home because everybody is working. So the percentage is so much.
Hmm.
So you could be judged very differently, but the judgment that happens in Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, even in Hyderabad, because I've stayed in Hyderabad for long, it's not like you're judged for your like those things. You're like, okay, how is she wearing? What is she doing? Just normal things. Like it's more
Hmm.
of a gossip kind of
Hmm.
situation, or
Hmm.
but here you're judged for not taking the tiffin box or not dropping your child to school. So that has been like an eye opener for me, that this is also happening in our country. This is one part of our country. Because I'll tell you honestly, there is blue collar employees, right? And especially if you see people who clean our toilets, maybe the janitors, the ladies I'm talking about,
Hmm.
nobody judges them in their community.
Hmm.
If you actually see,
Yes.
nobody will judge those ladies in their community.
Hmm.
They
You're
will
right.
empathize with them. If this is a real eye opener on how we function, If there is this mason and he has his wife also taking bricks and going up 4 floors and just going downstairs and then feeding her children, nobody is going to judge that your child was just playing on the mud. It's such an
I
eye
think
opener.
judgments are more for the middle class and upper middle class, poorer section of the society and the ultra rich. I think I don't know. I just feel judgments are less there. Middle class
Yeah.
is so full of judgments and so worried about what other people will also think
Yes,
about
yes,
them.
yes, 100%, 100%. And they totally negate the fact that this mother is not just a mother, she's also a breadwinner for the house.
Mhm. That's
They
something I
totally
think they don't
negate the fact.
understand, Sharon. That concept
No,
that you are the man of your house. Uh, you have to bear all the bills. You have to make sure that your child is well fed, well taken care of. You don't have somebody sharing that load with you. i
yes,
I think sometimes they don't put themselves in your shoes because they've not seen this around them. I mean,
yes,
they're so structured in their head just by the virtue of being in the society where they've been born and grown up and now married and become a part of that society itself and not knowing anything beyond it. I think that's what causes the judgment. But it's unfortunate because uh, living in Bombay, I can tell you that maybe single mothers are judged, single women are judged. I'm a single woman,
yes,
so
yes,
single women
100%.
can be judged, but then it's very, very negligible because by and large we are a cosmopolitan setup. Now,
Yes,
going to Goa, people go to Goa thinking about Dil Chata Hai and things like that,
yeah,
I'm going for a
yeah,
holiday. But then, like listening to you, I understand that there is another side of Goa that we have no idea about. A Goa that is
yes.
so seeped in its own culture that it is not able to understand you
The
for the
complexes,
person you
yeah,
are,
the
for the
complexities,
complexities of your.
yes, absolutely. And what happens is people have to take this matter into perspective, that a lot of Indians choose to move from one state to another. They're
Hmm,
also bringing in economic growth to that state.
correct,
Like, why
absolutely.
do you forget that? Because apart from that, it's not that. you cannot afford to move to Canada or something like that. It's the own thing. It's like a lot of people really love the country. Like I love my country and I want to maybe move from here to Himachal.
Hmm.
If you know what I mean, because that's my kind of work. I'm a holistic healer. I write, I'm an author. I get my inspiration from nature, from people, right? So people have to keep that area in perspective. And the other thing is, the same people, okay? There was this one post on Facebook that uh, please, you outsiders, don't come and buy houses in Goa. You're making it a concrete jungle. People are, the real estate market is open. They're selling houses, and it's not that the houses are cheap. They're really, really expensive. And there are people who want to move to their own country and bring in economy there. I mean, if like COVID hit, right? Tourism was shut. And if that has to happen for a very long time, how are the people going to survive?
Absolutely. You know, you brought a very important point that as Indians, when we travel, let's say, when we move base from India to, let's say, a foreign country, then we can think of, people not being very nice to us, receptive to our existence, sort of xenophobic, don't know, like, how we could be, our culture, things like that. But in our own country, the whole of India is I can today I'm in Bombay. Tomorrow, if I feel like going back to Assam, I could go back. Tomorrow, if you
Yes,
want to settle in Assam, you could think of it. I mean,
yes,
the whole country belongs to us. So when I hear things like, you outsiders don't come and buy land in our state or our town, I find it ridiculous. I mean,
and it's sad.
what does it mean? Our town, our state, whole of
Yeah,
India belongs to every Indian,
yes,
Like now there's a debate going on, on social media that you need to know a particular language to be working in that state. I'm like, is it possible? How many Indian languages do we have? If we have to get that mindset that, oh, if I'm traveling to Bengal, I need to know Bengali. I'm staying in Maharashtra for the past 20 years. Not one person has ever made me feel that I'm a lesser person or I don't belong to this state.
yeah,
I need to know Marathi to be able to, fend for myself in Bombay. Not one
yeah,
Maharashtrian has ever done that. And that is the beauty of Bombay. Bombay has
yes,
many things to teach people across, the world, I feel. We have our own
yes, yes,
shortcomings, but we
yes.
have some very good things to do, to
I
teach.
have never heard the word outsider in Bombay. Like this was very new to me
Hmm.
here in this place that I'm living, in this city, but not in Bombay, not in Pune, even not in like I'm talking about even in Delhi. Like
Hmm.
always, we say Mumbaikas and Delhiites have a
Huh, huh,
conflict,
huh.
but believe me, here the Mumbaikas and Delhiites are very peace-loving together. So we didn't have that. So this outsider word took me like in a great shock. I mean, literally, I felt very sad. Like I said, this is not the Goa that I knew. I felt very sad. But that doesn't mean Goa as a whole is bad. There are people who are also very welcoming.
Hmm.
And Smita, I did interview, one senior citizen because we have a senior citizen park very close to where I live, and I asked him like, why are Goans called as Susegad? Like, what is the real meaning of Susegad? And he had such a beautiful explanation. He said, you know what? Susegad doesn't mean lazy, which the new lineage has taken. It means that you relax more, you be in a chill state of mind because historically Goans were self-sufficient. What a beautiful way of putting it across. And he really changed my mind, I think so. He said, we had our own bakeries, we used to grow our own trees and own things, not that you become lazy, so that you can have a slower lifestyle, you can enjoy the fruits of your labor, you can have a healthier life. But the lineage misunderstood that, and he was feeling very sad. He said most of the lineage, let me not generalize, but most of them misunderstood that. And they take it as, oh, let's have a beer and go to sleep. It's not like that. It's to enjoy. And this
Not
gentleman was
dependent on
about,
others for their sustenance. They were growing
yes,
their
yes,
own
and
food.
then pass it
They were
on.
making their own bread. Understood.
Yes.
Lost in
So
translation.
yes, yes. So it was totally lost in translation. And I could relate to it because I'm half Sri Lankan, and this is what we do in Sri Lanka, right? We want to pass it on to our lineage, but Sri Lankans are very hardworking. We don't chill because you understand the value and importance of money. You understand the value. So there's a lot of, we can sit and debate about it all along, but I was so happy that I got an opportunity to change my overview
Hmm.
from a Goan,
Hmm.
that this is also Goa. This is how it was meant to be. So that was a good experience as well, which I wanted to put it out there.
Sharon, tell me, 15-year-old, your son is,
Yeah.
just two of you. Um, does he ever ask about his father? Or does he tell you that, Mama, now I'm a big boy? Because nowadays I see a lot of teenagers who want to act like adults, oh, I'm an adult, I know better. So does he ever tell you that, Mama, maybe, you should, be, go meet people, whatever
Yeah.
kids tell their parents.
So my son, he has been raised very differently, Smita. I mean, you know me, I come from a very open-minded space, and I also come from a very disciplined background.
Hmm,
So initially, I had to go through a lot of counseling because I believe in counseling. I believe in therapy. I believe that there are people who are paid to help you get and navigate, a better roadmap.
absolutely.
So initially, I went through a lot of counseling to understand on how do I transition this boy, because boys are raised, however you raise them, they suppress a lot. Maybe they don't even open up to their friends that much. Like
Hmm,
we women, we will just chat about a lot of things
hmm,
unless we are like somebody belongs to a reserved category, right?
hmm, hmm,
So I have never given him the 100% exact reason of my divorce with my husband because it could be very hard on him.
hmm,
The transitioning was that we are adults and adults make mistake and we move on, like that sort of
hmm,
story. And it's not his fault. It's not my fault. This is what happens. Like,
hmm,
so initially, I've also spoken about how was it that when we were dating, my ex-husband and I, and what sort of movies we used to like, and what a loving person he is. Like, there is no room for hate,
hmm,
but obviously, as a teenager, it is intriguing and he wants to know more. So I always did tell him that whenever you wish to find out more, let me know. Like, the comfort level of conversation was very
hmm,
important,
hmm,
because he is going to make mistakes, and I would want him to make mistakes, but I would not want him to think that I don't have a father or I don't have somebody whom I could freely speak to.
hmm, hmm, hmm.
And then once he told me that you're a very intelligent woman, sometimes you may have to dumb down if you want to, if you want another boyfriend.
He told you.
He told me that. And I was like, where is this coming from?
Hmm,
He's like, Mama, you have to understand. So he heard it somewhere.
yeah.
And he heard that your mother, because I also counsel in his school. I go for parent teachers meeting and I do counsel in his school. So kids talk.
Hmm,
So somebody said, oh, your mom is very pretty. She's very intelligent. She comes to counsel. But here in India, men are very dumb. So I told him, no, 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 there are no dumb men as such. There are good men as
Actually
well.
thinking about you. What is Mama going to do?
No, because he understands. I've raised him in such a manner that he understands independency. He understands that he cannot be living with me for the rest of his life, and his bachas will. I'll be look, that kind of lifestyle I don't have. Okay, I'll be very honest. People can hate me for all they want to, but I love me. I like my life as well, and I have made a lot of sacrifice. And right now, I'm writing the book that I wanted to write maybe ages ago, right? And travel places and so many things which you cannot do as a single parent.
Yeah.
And if you are a single parent, you need to be crorepati to do a lot of things that you want to do. So you can hire a lot of help and then go through guilt that I didn't give time. So there's a lot of guilt factor also happens, right?
Hmm,
So I said no. I said now he's a teenager, and now what is this new generation is a little more smarter. Like the
yeah, yeah,
20-year-old, is a 50-year-old, and the 50-year-old is also a 50-year-old.
Yes.
So he's in the 10th standard, and he knows that maybe he'll be going to a hostel, or he will, like, wherever they know what they want. That's the best thing about this generation. Like, we took decades to stumble on understanding what we want, right, Smita?
Yes,
So
definitely.
they know, yeah. So I did speak to him, and we did have this discussion, because he said that there are so many apps I've heard. He does all the research work for me. He does
Yeah, yeah.
that. He's very sweet.
Kids have
And
all the information today.
they
Kids have
have all the
every bit of
information. Like,
information.
he helped me understanding the texting language, because I don't understand this new texting language. We are creative writers, so it's like not happening. So initially, I did try meeting people through dating apps, but it's not for me. I don't resonate with it. I'm totally old-fashioned, and I have nothing against dating apps, but it's simply not for me. And I'm a relationship kind of girl. So I don't want to be in a relationship just to be in a relationship.
I
If
get
it's meaningful and it resonates with my value and my intellectual level, as what my son says,
it.
I would love that. I would love to have a partner who can travel with me, and I can spend time with him, and we can have these discussions, and talk about the mature stuff and the silly things as well. So if that happens, that happens. But yeah, I'm open. If you know somebody, let me know. But I have to dumb down as per my son.
No, you don't have to. That I won't agree with your son. When just now you mentioned about how you are letting your son know in bits and parts about why you
Yes,
and your spouse separated. The most beautiful thing I, took from that message is that you said, we were young and mistakes happen. It was not wholly my fault or your father's fault. People grow up and move on. I
and
think
yes,
that's such a nice way to put it across
thank you.
because a lot of people, when there's a lot of resentment when somebody
Yes,
undergoes a divorce or something like that. So, you maybe consciously or unconsciously try and say very mean things to your child about your partner,
yes,
which can then,
yes,
impact them and their relationship with their mother or father in later years. But in your case, I think that was the most beautiful thing that, I'm taking
thank,
away from this
oh, thank you.
podcast. You're always a nice person, Sharon, but then this
Thanks.
is such a beautiful thing to do. And also leaving that window open for your son to ask you more questions when he is curious. As he grows older, I'm sure,
Yes,
the questions will build in his head.
yes.
Just as last word, Sharon, for a single mom raising her teenage kid, what is that one word of advice you'd like to give?
So advice is never a word. But I very, very strongly advocate mental and emotional well-being. It's very important for me, because I believe that you cannot change what is outside you. You can change what is inside you. To do so, prioritize your well-being, your mental well-being, your emotional health. Because if you're resilient, sometimes you are going to be losing your yin energy. You become even more yang energy, right? You become even more masculine,
Hmm,
and that's not good. There is loss of balance. We are women. We are not historically or genetically known as providers. We were supposed to provide in a very different manner. We are more of a receiving energy. But
correct.
when you start wearing the masculine hat, sometimes, and this has happened with me, you lose that thin line between being a masculine and feminine, and everything starts looking like a shut door to you, right?
Hmm, hmm,
So balancing that is very important, and that comes from putting in work in yourself.
hmm, hmm,
Self-care, self-love. How do you speak to yourself? Because I have been very harsh on myself, and there have been women who've been even more tougher.
hmm,
And mental health takes so much of toll. And then if you're not happy, how can you give happiness to somebody else? Because I totally believe a happy parent, a happy child. So, so it's never a word, Smita, to be honest.
It was such a wonderful session. I enjoyed every bit of this conversation, but like I said
Thank you.
earlier, how you have told your son about, being a single parent, leaving window open for him to grow more curious with passing years and ask you more questions, for him not
Yes.
to feel as if he doesn't have somebody he can talk to freely, because they usually say that, sons, when they grow older, they tend to talk more freely with their fathers.
Yeah.
But you've left all that open for him when he wants to be able to ask you those
Yes.
questions, if he
Because,
wants
you
to ask
know,
you those questions.
I'll tell you, Smita, let's not tagline like father, son.
Hmm.
That is a human that I have raised.
Absolutely.
Human,
I don't
yeah.
like these biases
Yes,
either, that,
yes, yes,
girls will confide in their mother more,
yes.
or sons will confide in their father more. I mean, it's just the bond that
It's
you have
not
with
set
your
in
child.
stone. That's right. It is
Absolutely.
not set in stone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
It was
that's
such
it.
a wonderful conversation, Sharon. I'm so, so grateful
Thank
to you
you.
for
Thank
giving me
you.
your time. And
Yes.
I wish you all the best for your
Thank
next
you
book.
very
And
much.
I wish your son all the happiness in the world. He's
Thank
like a little
you.
nephew to me, so I am wishing
I
him
know,
all.
I know. If you meet him now, he's 6 feet already.
My
So
God, I have to wear high heels.
I look tiny in front of him being so tall, Smita, you know that. But please do come to Goa before I plan to move away from here and we will catch up.
Definitely, Sharon. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you for giving me your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.